Have you ever wondered what really happens when something goes wrong at 35,000 feet? When the calm smile of a flight attendant hides a storm of silent training, drills, and instincts kicking in? What if I told you that the way they handle in-flight emergencies is nothing like the safety card tucked in the seat pocket? It's far more raw, unpredictable, and honestly, fascinating. Flight attendants are not just there to hand out pretzels and pour sodas with that endless coffee, tea, or water routine. They are the unsung crisis managers of the sky, trained to deal with fires, medical collapses, sudden decompression, even hijackings. And they do it all without making passengers panic, because the first rule of an airborne emergency is psychological. Keep the cabin calm. Imagine this: you're halfway over the Atlantic, dinner trays are clinking, a baby's crying in the back, and suddenly smoke starts seeping from a galley oven. Before you even notice, attendants are already moving. One distracts nearby passengers with a forced smile, another grabs the extinguisher, while the third discreetly radios the cockpit, and the whole thing looks like nothing more than a little turbulence to the untrained eye. But behind that calm facade is years of drilled muscle memory. What most travelers don't know is that attendants are actually trained in simulations more intense than many people will ever experience in real life. Dark rooms filled with artificial smoke, screaming actors pretending to faint, alarms blaring, flashing strobes, and they must find the exits, drag heavy dummies, and even fight through mock hijack scenarios. It's not glamorous at all. It's brutal, sweaty, and sometimes terrifying. But it makes the difference between chaos and survival when something happens for real. Think about decompression, that nightmare where oxygen masks fall. Attendants don't just strap on a mask and hope for the best. They're taught to secure themselves first, because if they pass out, the whole cabin is lost. Then they move from row to row, checking people, tightening straps, comforting those who can't breathe or are frozen in panic, while counting the seconds in their head because they know exactly how long until hypoxia sets in. And then there are medical emergencies, the ones no one expects. A heart attack, a stroke, seizures at cruising altitude. There's no ER, no ambulance sirens, just a crew of attendants with a first aid kit, an onboard defibrillator, and a shaky satellite phone to patch through a ground doctor who may or may not respond quickly. Sometimes the attendant has to make split-second calls. Do we divert? Do we risk a landing at a remote airport? Or can the passenger be stabilized long enough to reach a major city? These choices are made while the rest of the cabin continues sipping wine, oblivious. What's wild is how much psychology is baked into their training. Attendants learn how to make announcements in a voice that sounds calm but firm, never too soft, never too panicked, because tone alone can decide if 200 people stay seated or stampede toward an exit. Even hijacking or violent passenger scenarios are rehearsed. Though airlines rarely talk about it, flight attendants practice subtle hand signals, coded phrases, and diversion tactics, because sometimes the best way to handle a threat isn't to confront it, but to delay, distract, and quietly communicate with the pilots, who might be locked in the cockpit with reinforced doors while attendants are face-to-face with danger. And you know what's even crazier? Many attendants will tell you the hardest emergencies are not fires or medical crises, but the unexpected human reactions, like the man who refuses to leave his bag during an evacuation, or the parent frozen in shock while their child is screaming, or the crowd rushing toward the wrong exit because fear overrides logic. That's when attendants physically shove, drag, or scream at passengers, not because they want to, but because seconds decide survival. and they'll risk being hated in that moment if it means saving lives. Every single emergency training drill is built around one haunting fact. Planes don't wait, fire spreads in minutes, oxygen runs out fast, and once that door is open on the ground, the rule is everyone must be out in 90 seconds, no matter the panic, no matter the chaos. Next time you see a flight attendant, buckle their jump seat and smile before takeoff. Remember, that person has rehearsed more disaster than you can imagine, carrying the weight of hundreds of strangers' lives in their memory, silently hoping they'll never need to use it. But if the worst happens, they are the only line between your fear and your survival. And maybe that's the real secret of flying, that safety isn't about the plane, it's about the people trained to save you.